Good morning, and welcome to the Todd County Board of Commissioners regular board meeting. Today is Tuesday, January 4th. The time is 9 a.m. All commissioners are present, along with the coordinator and Jolene from the Auditor Treasurer's Office. We will now stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are there any amendments to the agenda?
Madam Chair, I have an amendment. I'd like to add a board action for a Todd County vaccination testing and face covering policy. And if I could, I'd like to add that under administration and move the closed session to 9.2 and make this 9.1.
Are there any other amendments to the agenda? If not, I'll ask for a motion for approval.
So moved.
Motion by Erickson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Newman. Discussion?
Madam Chair, on the amendment for the vaccine policy, is that just going to be discussion?
It's going to be discussion with potential action if the board is prepared to take action.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And carries. The next item of up is to establish the board chair. I'll ask for a motion. Okay, there's been a motion for Commissioner Erickson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Kircher. Discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And carries. I'll turn it over.
All right, we'll continue on with 4.2, establish board vice chair. I think the one being presented in the proper rotation would be, I'm looking for a nomination for vice chair.
Move for Commissioner Newman.
Motion by Kircher, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Becker, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Consent items, take it away, Jolene.
Good morning, thank you. The consent items for today are the meeting minute approval from December 28th, 2021, a gambling permit for Sox Center Ferry Lake Association, retirement of the relative search, Kathy Creamer's, effective January 3rd, 2022, and approval to hire a heavy equipment operator, Jason Waking, start date to be determined.
Okay, you've had a chance to review the consent items. Looking for a motion to approve.
Move for discussion.
Okay. Second, motion by Kircher, second by Kneisel. Discussion?
On Kathy Kramer's, how many years?
It is on her
I was going to say, she's been here a long time.
36
I don't have that
years.
specific.
She started,
36 years of service.
How
was
much?
36 was noted on the board
oh,
action.
okay, I didn't see that, I'm sorry. Well, I'd just like to thank her for her service. She started out, I think, with me in the jail as a correction officer, and she went up to social services. She's been there quite a while. Yeah, so I want to thank her for her service, because she's a wonderful lady, and she served the county well, so.
I'll just add to that a congratulations for
Yes.
after 36 years of service. Hopefully she can have some great times afterwards, so.
So give her our best.
Thank you. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Auditor Treasurer, carry on.
The first topic brought before you this morning is for the 2022 official newspaper designation. The background is Minnesota Statute, Chapter 375.12 requires the annual letting of bids for publication be held for the publication of the official proceedings of the official Todd County Board meetings and notices. The recommendation would be to approve the attached resolution designating the official newspaper for 2022 with the bids as presented. And our office has only received one bid, and I will open that now. And Mr. Brown is there to speak if there's any questions, but I'll just read the short letter here. Addressed to you, the Todd County Board of Commissioners, is the Long Prairie Leader, on behalf of the Leader and the Independent News Herald, respectfully submits a bid of $10.50 for the designation of official newspapers of Todd County. This bid represents a no-cost increase over last year for Todd County. The Long Prairie Leader will act as the lead newspaper under a joint publishers agreement signed by the Long Prairie Leader and the Independent News Herald, and that is attached. Additionally, the Long Prairie Leader will then publish the official notices and proceedings of Todd County in the Osakis Anchor newspaper at no additional cost to Todd County for the year 2022. Respectfully, Jason Brown.
Okay, you've heard the action. Is there a motion to approve the Long Prairie Leader / Independent News Herald at a rate of $10.50 per column inch?
So moved.
Motion by Newman, is there a second? Second by Kneisel, discussion.
Yes, I would like to. What happened with the Staples World?
The Staples World is not included in this bid. Initially, in years past, we've worked with all three of us newspapers together to submit a joint bid. Back in August, we had some discussions with the Staples World about what that bid increase may look like for this current calendar year. The Staples World had indicated a rate that they were suggesting, and Ray and I offered a separate rate that we suggested, and that was the last we heard from Staples. There was no communication from Staples prior to the setting of the preliminary levy and budget. We did not hear from Staples until the end of December. I had reached out personally to Staples at the beginning of December with two separate communications on December 9th. We received no communication or response from them at that time. Included in one of those emails to Staples was a reminder to Mark, the general manager up there, to submit the joint bid soon, as I was preparing to submit our bid for the second publication. Then an additional email was sent out that included our proposal for the Osakis Anchor that I presented to you back in December. Again, there was no response from Staples at that point. Prior to Christmas, on December 21st, I reached out again to Staples to see where we were with the joint bid. No response. The week between Christmas and New Year's, I reached out to Denise Gaida to see if a bid had been submitted, and she indicated to me that they had not received anything in the mail yet. At that point, with no communication and no indication of what Staples' intentions were, we did not know if he had other plans. We didn't know if he was still working there. We did not know if, today's economy with what's happened to COVID and newspapers, we didn't know if they'd be closing even. We had no idea what was going on. Ray and I got together. We discussed what a joint bid between the two of us would look like. We knew that time wasn't on our side. With the New Year's holiday coming up on Saturday, the county was closed on Friday, so we knew that we had to get something in, and we needed to get something in fast. So without any indication from Staples what their position was, what their plans were, or who was even going to be involved, we felt that we had no other choice than to put together a bid between ourselves. That way we could ensure that the process and protocols were met, the bid deadline was met, and I believe we did submit in time under the requirements of the county for that bid. We did receive communication from Staples on December 31st, which was after the fact and after the bid deadline. At that point, we did not see that until Monday of this week, which would have been, well, yesterday. So a lot's happened in the last 24 hours. We did indicate to Staples that they would be welcome to join us again in 2023. If there's a way that they could be involved this year, we could potentially look at how that would look. I don't know how that would look. But for 2023, for them to be a part of the official designation like we have been for decades, then at that point, we can talk about it at, later this year, what that would look like, what the role would be. But at this point, the Staples World would no longer be a part of our bid process right now. But in 23, they could be. However, they would not be the newspaper of record. At this point, we felt that we cannot trust them to coordinate the bid process and do it in a timely manner that satisfies the requirements of the board. I know this is a bit of a change. It's not what we wanted. However, we felt that it was in the best interest not only of ourselves, obviously. We needed to protect ourselves, but we also needed to protect the integrity of the board's protocol and the citizens of Todd County.
Any other discussion? I believe I had a motion and a second.
Correct.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
The next item that the Auditor Treasurer's Office is bringing forward then is the 2022 extra publication newspaper designation. Again, Minnesota Statute Chapter 375.12 requires an annual letting of bids be held for publication of the extra proceedings of the Todd County Board meetings and notices. And our office has placed the recommendation to approve the attached resolution, which would designate the extra publication newspaper for 2022 per the only bid received, which is from the Long Prairie Leader, as has been in years past. And that has a message provided here on time according to our bid notification publications. Addressed to you, the Todd County Board of Commissioners, the Long Prairie Leader respectively submits a rate of $9 per column inch for the designation of extra printing of the financial statement for the year 2021 to be printed in 2022. This rate is an increase of $1.20 per column inch from 2021. The previous rate remained unchanged for the past 4 years. This bid is made jointly on behalf of the Long Prairie Leader and the Independent News Herald and will include additional distribution through the Osakis Anchor. Respectfully, Jason Brown.
Okay, we have a board action in front of us then that with a resolution designating the extra publication newspaper for 2022 as the Long Prairie Leader with the bid of $9 per column inch. Is there a motion?
So move.
Motion by Becker, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Newman, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you. The next document our office has prepared for you is the 2022 Todd County Board of Commissioners Board Protocol. The background of this is the Todd County Board of Commissioners wish to create a transparent process for the order of the county board meetings and notices. The County Board of Commissioners met in work session on December 21st, 2021 to consider and propose updates to the Todd County Board Protocol document for 2022. And their recommendation is to adopt the attached resolution to establish the 2022 Todd County Board of Commissioners Board Protocol. And I have provided a written copy there for your easier review.
Is anybody requesting the resolution to be read? Is everybody good with looking over it? All right, so we have a board action in regards to the changes and updates to the Todd County Board Protocol document. I look for a motion to approve.
Would like discussion, Mr. Chair?
Sure.
On item 19 on the first page, I think you all have it on the first page. It says, a 3-day advance notice if circumstances allow. Is that statutorily follow the statute? If circumstances allow.
That's the same verbiage used if emergency meetings also need to be posted. Those words are taken directly from statute for that as well.
Okay, but it doesn't say anything about emergency meetings, it just says calling a special meeting, or, so my question is, are we following the law, or are we kind of making up our rules as we go? So,
I think what this has to do with is when more than one commissioner wants to attend a meeting, per se, if it's planning and zoning, or a different meeting, and we get hold of the auditor treasurer saying we will be attending this meeting, is to let the other commissioners know that we're attending, more than two may be attending that specific meeting. So it's not a meeting we're calling or anything, it's a meeting we may be attending, such as when ordinances are changed or whatever, if you want to listen to the public during the planning and zoning meeting. That's, I know the time that it occurred last year.
Mr. Chair, maybe a clarification in the language to just state follow Minnesota state statute for posting requirements instead of if time allows. Might be a
That's
better,
what concerns me, because if time allows, that it's kind of just saying, well, we can do it or not do it, so.
and Jolene is correct, when there are emergency situations, the statute defines that notification. But again, it's that statute reference, so I think we could just clear it up by saying following Minnesota statutes.
State statute.
That would be my preference. Thank you.
I would entertain a motion with the discussed word change to follow. How did you word that?
Following Minnesota state statutes.
Minnesota state statute. Motion by Kneisel with the word change as discussed. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Newman. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you. Office has prepared for your consideration is the 2022 board meeting date schedule. It is customary for the County Board of Commissioners to set the county board meeting schedule at the first board meeting of each year and adjust accordingly for known scheduling conflicts. The recommendation before you is to approve to continue to hold the Todd County Board of Commissioners meetings on the first and third Tuesday of every month at 9:00 a.m. in the Todd County Historic Courthouse, and work sessions designated by board chairperson or 3 members of the county board as deemed necessary. The county board also approves that the year-end board meeting be scheduled for, it would be a Tuesday, December 27th, 2022.
Mr. Chair, for discussion, do we have to change it for our meeting in December?
For the AMC conference?
Yes.
You could do that now or later, Commissioner.
If we're aware of it, we could just well include it now is, I guess, my opinion, if we know the date and can look at the date. Do we just jump to the next week, or did we jump to a different day in the week, or what's the best scenario for?
Mr. Chair, I think what we did last for this year is we moved it later in the week to the Friday after the conference.
I guess I'll take board suggestions here. If you'd rather wait until closer time to see what date works best, or if you'd rather make it now and make the change, I'm open to either, it doesn't matter.
If I may, Mr. Chair, I would also make a note that November is a very long month as far as number of weeks this year, so you actually are gonna have a long gap happening there if you delay your first meeting in December again, because November is longer. There's an extra Tuesday.
Suggestions? Preferences?
Correct, it could be earlier, Commissioner.
Can we move it earlier even to pay the bills for December?
Correct.
We can
We'll
do
work
that in
around
November?
whatever date you choose. We will adjust our submission deadlines accordingly.
So November 29th is the Tuesday prior to the 6th of December. Or again,
Suggestion is just leave it and move that date in December.
should we move it in later in November?
No, I suggest we move it later in December.
Oh, in December?
Yes.
The
Otherwise, you're
6th,
just messing around with,
then you can either go to a later day that week, to a different day, or we can go to, you wanna just go, does Wednesday cut it? No.
No, because we don't get
No.
back till
I would do it on
Wednesday.
that Friday like we did this year.
Thursday, or the Friday of the same week, Commissioner Kircher, is what you're suggesting?
Yeah.
Which is
Ye-
Veterans Day, which is a holiday.
If you did it the Friday after the conference, that would be December 9th.
Correct.
Right, yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
And this year we did it the 10th.
Yeah.
I would do it tonight, yeah.
I'll entertain a motion to someone's preference of when we do it or don't do it.
I'll move that we move the board meeting in December, the first board meeting to December 9th.
Okay, we have a motion to make the change in the calendar for meetings for the year, first meeting in December from the 6th to December 9th. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Becker. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
The next action that our office has prepared for you is the 2022 committee appointments. It is customary that the Board of Commissioners establish or reaffirm the committees to which they are a member of each calendar year. The recommendation is to approve the attached resolution adopting the Commissioners' committee assignments for 2022. And I provided a list there for you to be able to look at if there's any changes, or if you'd like me to read each line, whatever you will.
I would like, if anybody would be willing, I have Ag Society on the second Thursday along with Rainbow Riders in Lowry at 5, and Ag Society usually starts at 7 or 7:30, so if anybody would be interested in doing Ag Society. Dave, you're giving up the library.
I am, yes. Well, actually, I was gonna suggest too, isn't there, I was just appointed to another committee, is that on here, that watershed, is that on here?
I have not had that on my radar to add
That was
here. I
the
certainly-
Yeah,
was that the
Mississippi watershed. Yes,
How often does the Ag Committee meet?
once a month.
When?
You can, it's the second Thursday. Gary's on it also.
Yeah, I can take the Ag
Evening.
Society, yeah.
That, thank you.
Any other changes, concerns,
The
requests?
other question I have, Mr. Chair, is with the change, the suggested change from Commissioner Kircher to Commissioner Kneisel for the Great River
Yes.
Regional Library. There needs to be an alternate name there.
Oh,
What day does that fall on?
So it follows our second meeting, third Tuesday. Our second board meeting of the month, it's that evening in St. Cloud. Starts at usually 5. If you're on any committees, it may be 5, 5:30. It could be, it depends if you're appointed to any committees. So,
Any takers? We're looking for an alternate, is that correct?
And both members don't have to go,
No, just one.
just one?
That's all that's allowed to be there. You have one vote, yes.
Well, I could go on as the alternate as long as Gary's going to go on as the prime.
Okay. We have Commissioner Becker offering to take the alternate spot for the library. Any other spots of concern?
I just have one, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
That would be soil and water and solid waste meet about the same time on the second Thursday. So I'll have to figure out.
I think I have soil and water now, right?
Mm-hmm, yes, because I go off.
Mhm.
And you and Randy would go on then.
So if we can work with Chris McCon or Gary and see if we can move that meeting
Sure, I can check with them.
later on in the morning.
The solid waste one.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
I will check.
All right. Any other changes, suggestions?
Mr. Chair, I know Kathy's here. Are you just here on a formal resolution or just to see if we reappoint committee members, Kathy?
The resolution is to appoint committee members.
So you have one on the agenda?
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm trying, okay, I didn't see it. Thank you.
Any other questions? Otherwise, I'll look for a motion to approve commissioner committee assignments with changes as presented.
So move.
Motion by Newman. Is there a second?
second. Oh,
Go ahead,
go ahead.
Go ahead, Barb.
Second by Becker. Further discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chair, usually later on Denise kind of tries to figure out what committees we are on with AMC. So are we going to get that cleared up today so she doesn't have to follow up on that? I think we usually stay on our same committees. I don't know if we've done any changing, but for AMC, so that we know that, AMC always wants a formal
Yep.
Yeah.
document from us to say which committees are we appointed to, so.
So maybe it would be, would there be any anticipated changes to that?
I don't think so. I just want to make sure that, if Denise always says, okay, I need to know who's on these committees, so I'm just going to suggest, Mr. Chair, that we just reappoint us all to the same committees on AMC too.
Okay.
So,
We can follow through with that to have the same appointments as what we had before with the AMC meetings too. Any other discussion?
Yeah, negotiation committee, I just seen it as I'm looking down. Now, do Rod and I stay on until these negotiations are finished, or do I
no.
go to Randy?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Becker, that is correct. You would stay on through the negotiation time.
We did last year.
Yeah.
Any other questions? I believe I had a motion and a second, correct? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you. The last action the Auditor Treasurer's Office has to put forth this morning is the designation of the depositories, investments, and electronic funds transfers. Per Minnesota statute and auditing standards, the designation of the depositories, investments, and electronic funds transfers shall be approved by the governing body annually. The recommendation is to approve the attached resolution for the designation of depositories, investments, and electronic fund transfers.
Is that a short resolution that you're wanting to read at all, or is that,
Very lengthy there, just notes the names of the entities of
okay?
where our,
Anybody that would like that read, or is everybody okay with reading it? And
Mr. Chair, if I may,
yes,
the Magic Fund,
yes.
I know some agencies are leaving the Magic Fund because they have changed their interest rates and not as good. Is there any, have you followed up on that at all? I know in the library we have, I'm sorry, library or else, is it, no, yes, it's a library. I was thinking it was TRICAP, it's not TRICAP. Library, we've had issues that the Magic Fund is not paying what they used to pay. So, and I see we're in the Magic Fund, how much do we have deposited with them?
Currently, there is no cash in the Magic Fund.
None.
No.
Okay, so why are we designating now?
We are listing it as an available resource.
Okay. The reason for not having funds in there is?
That is an auditor answer question. I'm sorry, I can't give you that. That would be for Denise to
Guess that it's
answer.
exactly what
You're
you're talking
talking
about.
about.
I just wanna
Yep,
know.
we're very cautious with how and when we
Yeah,
move the
because,
county's
you
funds,
know,
correct?
On the library, we've talked about the Magic Fund, and we've decided to kind of pull some of our funds out of that, so.
Yep.
Because they were paying good interest rates, and now they've changed how they're doing things, so.
But we do have an existing joint powers agreement with Magic Fund if we would choose to utilize
All right, thank you.
for the county's benefit. Mhm.
Good question. Any other questions, discussion? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve the designation of depositories, investments, and electric fund transfers. Motion by Kneisel. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Kircher. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Todd Wadena, Community Corrections. Welcome, Kathy.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Today, I have our annual resolution to request that the Todd County Board and Wadena County Board of Commissioners adopt appointing membership to our Executive Committee and Advisory Board. The background is that in accordance with Minnesota Statutes, Chapter 401, in 1976, Todd and Wadena counties entered into a joint powers agreement to provide correctional services in the counties. They established Todd Wadena Community Corrections. As part of the joint powers agreement, membership of the Todd Wadena Community Corrections Executive Committee and Advisory Board needs to be appointed by the boards of commissioners in Todd and Wadena counties. The attached resolution lists out the executive committee members first and then the advisory board members. New to the advisory board this year will be Josiah Tonder. Pastor Josiah is the pastor at the River of Life Church in Long Prairie, and he will be serving as a citizen member. Also, although Judge Clark from Wadena County has been attending the meetings, he will now officially be a member. Additionally, Alex Martinez will serve as the ethnic minorities representative, filling a vacancy created by Sandra Arndt. And Erica Keppers will be new, serving as the health services representative from Wadena County, replacing Cindy Peterson. I would be happy to read the resolution if needed. Otherwise, I am respectfully requesting that the board adopt this resolution.
Okay, you've had a chance to see and review the resolution presented by Todd County Community Corrections. Is there a motion to approve as presented?
So move.
Motion by Newman. Is there a second? Second by Kneisel. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Planning and zoning. Adam,
Good morning.
good morning.
I have our new appointments for the Board of Adjustments and Planning Commission for the upcoming year. There's an attached appointments list showing the full Board of Adjustments and Planning Commission members for 2022. The proposed appointments that we need for this year would be a Planning Commission and Board of Adjustments member from District 4, Ken Hovitt, with the term expiring in 2024. He's already appointed to the Planning Commission, but would also be appointed to the Board of Adjustments as a crossover member. We had found that we are not in compliance with the state standard of that requirement, so Ken has volunteered to attend both boards. So we'd be ultimately appointing him also to the Board of Adjustments to expire in 2024. And then also appointment of Mike Sukup to the Board of Adjustments from District 1 expiring in 2022. This would just be filling out the remainder of Rudy Bierga's term, and we'd reappoint him again at the start of next year for a 4-year term. So the recommendation would be approval of the recommended list of appointments to the Planning Commission and Board of Adjustments effective in January 2022.
Okay, you've seen the board action in regards to the Planning Commission and Board of Adjustment appointments. Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Motion by Becker. Is there a second? Second by Kneisel. Discussion?
If I could, Mr. Chair, I'd like to take an opportunity to thank Rudy Burga's family. Rudy passed away about a week ago, 10 days ago, I guess, and so for all of his time he spent helping us at Todd County.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Becker. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
Okay, at this time, the board is gonna enter into,
No, we got 9.1.
oh, I'm sorry, we switched them, didn't we?
Yep.
Yep, 9.1, policy, testing policy, correct?
Yep, that is correct. So, Mr. Chair and board members, I have this as a discussion and an action item, and I apologize if I should have had these as two separate, just for discussion and then action if necessary. But I will give you the background on this. The background is the federal OSHA has issued an ETS, which is an emergency temporary standard on vaccination and testing, and Minnesota OSHA has adopted the federal OSHA ETS. Minnesota employers with 100-plus employees are required to follow the ETS. While awaiting further legal decision on the ETS, a vaccination testing and face covering policy has been developed for review and potential adoption to meet the requirements and deadlines of the federal and Minnesota OSHA mandates of January 10th, 2022 for vaccination status and February 9th for testing and face coverings for those unvaccinated. So I do have options available, and the options are to adopt the Todd County's vaccination testing and face covering policy pending outcome of legal decisions by Supreme Court, hold pending outcome of legal decisions by Supreme Court, or do not adopt Todd County's vaccination testing and face covering policy. And I do also have copies of the policy for you. I have it as a PDF electronic on the screen if Jolene will bring that up, and we can walk through it, and I also have physical copies for you.
Chair, can I ask a question?
Yeah, I'll open it up for discussion first.
Who's paying for the testing?
That's a question that can be
Thank you.
So the responsibility of the cost of testing is not the responsibility of the county. Although the county may choose to pay for that testing, it is not the responsibility of the county. So if I may, I don't know if it's an appropriate time for me to just kind of walk through what this is and kind of why we're doing this.
I guess I would like to just ask a or follow-up question or whatever in regards to this. So if, and I mean, we only have a couple days to wait here to see how the Supreme Court rules. Does it pay to go through this with a board action and then not have it active anyways? Or are we better off? I mean, does it make a difference if we wait till the next meeting to
Mr. Chair,
adopt this as policy, or are we shooting
That's-
ourselves?
That's a good question. The tricky part to this is if the OSHA mandate stays in effect as it is right now, and if the Supreme Court does not make a decision as of January 10th, OSHA requires us to have status of employees, requires us to have their vaccination status, and that's our first step. And we have until February 9th to allow people time to get vaccinated, to do whatever, and then February 9th, that testing requirement begins. So what, if this was adopted at this time pending the legal outcome, what the Supreme Court decides, if no decision is made, it allows us to continue to move forward to at least get that status information. If the board chooses to do nothing at this time and that mandate stays in effect and the Supreme Court does not make a decision, we could potentially be in violation of OSHA. by not starting the process.
Okay.
Can I,
Go ahead,
Mr. Chair?
sure.
What are the dates again, Chris? I mean, we can always call a special meeting if nothing happens. I mean, I think we're all on the side that something might be changing. We're all hoping something might be changing along the line.
Things change
So-
frequently.
Yep, and so if necessary, if something doesn't change, we could always call a special meeting to have a vote on this, am I correct?
Absolutely, you can. You absolutely can. Just keeping in mind that there is a, along with those Minnesota state statutes, to have that time frame, we're gonna have to at least have a 3-day notification, so things they could get delayed a little bit. I would just not want to put the board in a position of, being outside of that time frame.
I'm not opposed to it. I just was questioning whether it was something that would make a difference, whether we waited or didn't wait. It doesn't matter to me one way or the other.
And that first deadline is really just gathering status. It's nothing more than gathering that status of employees. And if we can if we wanted to go to page 3, Jillian, if you would scroll to that. Scroll down on the page, please. Continue, yep, just to get to that full table. So this is the first deadline that OSHA has implemented, and it's really, this kind of talks about that status, getting employees to submit proof of vaccination, and then if they're fully vaccinated, submit that proof of vaccination. If they're partially vaccinated, submit how far along they are in the process. And if they're not vaccinated, what is their status? Are they planning on getting vaccinated, or are they not planning to receive a vaccination? That helps us in preparing for that next deadline that will be coming February 9th.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
what happened to Hipaa rules? What,
We will follow all of rules of Hipaa through this process. So the submitting proof of vaccination, that will go to Sarah. We have one person who will be collecting that information. That information is not going to be shared with anybody other than Sarah. We will not be providing anybody, if they question somebody's vaccination status, that is not something that we will be sharing with others. We can share a total count of vaccinations, so if somebody wanted to know a percentage, we could share that, but we could not share individual vaccination information.
well, Mr. Chair, I'm gonna go on record and say I'm opposing this stuff. Also in our policy, just a suggestion to administration is, when we do a policy, we should not put the person's name in there, but we should put the office.
Thank you for pointing that out, yes. We will.
It should be HR, not Sarah, because Sarah could leave tomorrow and then
Yep.
they're trying to find Sarah and she's gone. So I think we should just put the office in there. Because if policy changes, then we don't have to change names. I'm gonna go on record saying I'm opposed to this. I just think, there's a lot of things here that there's no answers to. I watch the news daily. I don't know of anybody that knows really what's going on. I think there's mass confusion. Everybody's trying to say this and then that, and get tested today, and you're good for a week, but I could get COVID in between there. So I'm really confused about all of this. And I'm cautioning the board about moving forward. I'm interested in what the Supreme Court is gonna say and do. I kinda agree with Barb, maybe we should just wait and see what they're gonna do. I've been getting emails too, I think the rest of you have, also from constituents, saying, to me, that do not, require mandatory vaccination, so.
Mr. Chair, if I may,
ahead.
Commissioner Kircher, this is an OSHA mandate, so it is a workplace safety
Okay.
mandate
I
that
understand.
does come with fines. It comes with fines for each citation. It also comes with larger citations if the employer doesn't follow it. So that's why we're bringing this forward, and it may not, it's really difficult to bring these things forward when you don't know what will happen next week. But it's really in an effort to just prepare and to make every attempt possible to stay in compliance with OSHA.
I understand that perfectly. I just don't think we as a board or we as citizens should just cower in the corners and just hide from this. I think it's time people start standing up and
Fighting back.
taking a stand and saying enough is enough. I just, I understand the safety of people and all of that, but I just think it's time that we just say, hey, you know, we're concerned about this, and I am concerned about this, about all this rigmarole we gotta go through and all this money they're handing out. Makes no sense. I'm sorry, you know, I'm sorry, I'm just gonna say I don't support it, so. The rest of you can make your decisions, but I do not support it, I'm sorry. I just think we could use more common sense when we're doing this stuff, and that's the way I've always worked, is using common sense, so.
And Mr. Chair, I have to agree with Commissioner Kircher. I was fully vaccinated. I did get COVID, okay? Doesn't even list on here. All it's saying is you gotta get vaccinated, okay? You can still get vaccinated and still get COVID, okay? It doesn't even cover that. It doesn't cover herd immunity, okay? If you've had COVID before and you went through it, your immunity is probably twice as good as this vaccine, which they're telling us is supposed to be good for you. Yeah, I agree with Commissioner Kircher. I think we just, I can't support it.
Mr. Chair, if I
Sure.
may, we certainly could hold, waiting the outcome of the Supreme Court, and then potentially call a special meeting. Again, it's an OSHA mandate, so.
I think at that time, I would be,
Sure. I'm just kind of leaving it open for discussion, because I think it's a point worthy of discussion, so. And Commissioner Chair, I would like to add to your HEPA thing, because it's gonna be quite obvious who's not vaccinated when it comes to it, because we're gonna have a different set of rules.
Yeah, yeah.
So, I might as well put a big sign up here, right here, for you, that'll say it, so. Because it's gonna be pretty obvious. So, the HIPAA thing is out the window.
Until it becomes convenient again.
I guess, if, Mr. Chair, if I can, I guess it's good to let everybody know what's being handed down to us as a board, so that communication remains open, and, yeah. So I think this is necessary to bring it to the employees and to bring it out in the open, what's happening, though.
So is this being brought forth as a board action? Do we need to act on the one where we're just gonna wait, being it's kind of brought as that?
So I did have an option on there, Mr. Chair, to hold
Hold.
pending outcome of legal.
Yep. Is that suitable for a motion from somebody?
Mr. Chair, could I ask a question of, our EOC, is it still active?
It is not.
Is still our emergency manager, and he gets the alerts. Have we met as a committee? No.
Okay, I just wondered if you guys have discussed this at all at the EOC level.
And if I can, Mr. Chair, just add a little bit more clarity on why this is being brought forward. So it is an OSHA mandate, which I've said more than once, but, so we have to follow the mandate, but there are certain things within the policy that aren't addressed in the mandate. So things such as discipline, how do you discipline and who pays for testing? Those are not things specifically addressed in the mandate that you must do this. So that's why this is being brought forward for board action. Is outside of the mandate, there are things that, if this mandate continues in effect, that the board will need to make decisions on.
I think there's a lot of unsure things that are gonna happen. Coordinator Pelzer and I were having a discussion prior to this, and I think our Health and Human Services Director will agree along with this. It's gonna be a nightmare when this becomes enacted, because I think they're starting out this process with the fact that everything is gonna be free COVID testing done, you know, or supplied to that, you're gonna have that available. And there's already things out there showing that they're gonna run short, and it's not gonna be, so then if you're not able to get your test, how are you supposed to test? Am I gonna be in violation because I can't get a test? Or am I gonna shove that off on the federal government and say, you said I could get a test, now I can't get one? There's gonna be a whole bunch of things that are gonna happen in the next few days that are gonna really play a part on this whole thing happening, so.
One of the pieces within the policy talks about testing options, and specifically what Commissioner Erickson spoke to. One of the free options in Minnesota is the vault testing. For the home testing, you can go online and sign up for testing. And as of this morning on the news, they stated that they are running out as people are trying to sign up for the day. There's only so many that are issued per day. And then after that, it becomes something that you have to pay for. And that was just today's change.
I had also heard one over the weekend too, and just out in the light news floating around out there, that the CDC is questioning whether or not they're gonna request it for people asymptomatic. Sorry, Jackie, I'm just telling you what I see, so, and I don't know, you know what? It's changing continuously, yes. Yep. It's very frustrating, yep. Sheriff Ock.
Chairman, if it's gonna be a condition of employment, I was in a Zoom meeting with MSA's counsel, who's a retired Washington County Assistant County Attorney, Rick Hodson, I'm sure you know, and he said that under statute, if it's a condition of employment, it's up to the employer to pay for these tests.
Mr. Chair, I mean, that's part of this policy. It's to be determined. So I mean, all of this is new, and we will take time to work through it. I have an obligation to bring this forward to you as a board, and there are going to be people on both sides, and I would like to just tread lightly as we go through this process. And
I've been waiting for you to bring this forward. So-
I've been treading lightly.
We have three options in front of us in regards to the board action, or if any of the three are acceptable, I would accept a motion in regards to that, or I would guess we could table at worst, correct?
Could, yep.
Mr. Chair,
I'm open.
I'll move to hold a pending outcome of legal decision by the Supreme Court.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Kircher to hold pending outcome of legal decisions by the Supreme Court. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Kneisel. Any further discussion? Good discussion by everyone, thank you.
Thank you.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
And Mr. Chair, I want to thank Chris for doing what she has to do, and I respect that. But as board members, we have to represent our constituents and make decisions for the whole county. And I know you're responsible for bringing it to us, and I appreciate that. And I know you're doing your job, so don't feel bad, but,
How many hours you spent on it?
Yeah.
And Sarah,
and Sarah, yeah. So thank you.
thank you.
All right, we'll go on to 9.2, closed session. The commissioners will be entering into a closed session pursuant to Minnesota statute 13D.03 to consider strategies for labor negotiations. I just need The time is 10:09. We've ended the closed session, and we'll return to the regular board meeting. And at this point, we would enter into standing reports. Any standing reports? Auditor Treasurer?
A note from the Auditor Treasurer that township elections will be coming in March. The filing period for those offices opened last week, Tuesday, and remains open through 5 o'clock on the 10th of January, next week. Contact the township clerk for your respective township if you're interested in running for an open seat in any of our 21 townships that have elections this coming March.
Thank you. Any county commissioner reports?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I would like to thank Commissioner Becker for her chairmanship for the past year. So thank you, Commissioner Becker.
Thank you.
Yep, been very enjoyable serving as vice chair with Commissioner Becker. We have a whole bunch of wonderful new stuff for the chair and vice chair entering into 2022, so I'm sure it'll be exciting. Any other reports?
I'd like to see Commissioner Newman get a little grayer, though. I don't know
Yeah.
what's going on.
Probably using that band coloring stuff.
It's a COVID.
Coordinators report?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to also take an opportunity to thank Commissioner Becker as board chair and you, Commissioner Erickson, as the vice chair. We've had some great discussions over the past year and some good committee meetings as well. So thank you for your time.
Okay, anybody else? Otherwise, we will recess. I don't have my calendar in front of me till
Teens.
till December 18th.